My name is Ziad Al-Ash'ar. I'm a senior specialist for KML with the ICVD team. Really quickly, what is generative artificial intelligence? What can it produce? I think a lot of you probably have experimented with it and tested it out. And as you can tell, and as you can know, we use generative AI to produce novel content, so things like text, images, videos, audio, design structures. We also use it to help write computer codes, programming language codes. We can use it to generate synthetic data. We can use it to help create workflow and automations in the work that we do. We can also use it to design and model physical objects. And so there's really lots of data and information that gets generated through the use of these tools. And so how does it work? Generative AI typically uses sophisticated deep learning models and algorithms that simulate the way we learn and decision-making process of the human brain. Generative AI models identified and encode patterns and relationships of a huge amount of data. So it makes sense of a lot of data and tries to make sense of it. And then it uses also the information to respond to you, the user, in what's called natural language request, or questions with relevant new content. It tries to answer the question to you as it's talking to a human. And so without further ado, I'm going to pass on the mic to my colleague, Sonia Ritzel.
Thank you very much, Thea. My name is Sonia Ritzel, and I look after the ICT4D conference for CRS. And I'd just like to share some takeaways from our event we had earlier this year in Ghana. So here is a picture from the event where the speaker asked, raise your hand if you have already used GenAI. So you can see there is a lot of interest. And I have a few key trends and lessons learned from our discussions I want to share. First of all, it was clear GenAI is here to stay. So that also means we have to develop data or engineering and soft skills, and as organizations, we really have to get the fundamentals right. Secondly, there is also an increasing focus on the ethical use of GenAI. That means we have to understand the risks, all kinds of risks, including also risks around the environmental impact. And also, AI is really revolutionizing how we're doing impact measurements, or MERL. That is a double-sided sword. If you look at the biases, we obviously have to make sure we get it right, but there's also lots of opportunities. And lastly, it also really threatens to amplify the digital divide. So that is obviously something we have to be mindful of. One thing that became quite clear is that there is still a lack of data from the global south, particularly if we're looking at languages that are not English. And that is obviously problematic and impacts how usable those platforms are. It's not just the data, but also the tools that are vastly owned by global north organization or companies. So we really have to empower the localization of GenAI solutions. So this is just a very brief overview of a couple of GenAI applications that we chatted about at the conference. We had applications around social and behavior change communications. Particularly, Miltech has done some work here. Then large language models for humanitarian response. So you might be aware of DataKind's work. We have a number of AI-assisted mapping tools, and then also there's a lot of examples of integrated GenAI into chatbots. So for example, for mobile learning or for health programs. And then I said, obviously, ethical and responsible use of GenAI is really important. So we talked about biases and risks, how to implement guardrails, keep it relevant, and build trust amongst our users. And then lastly, as I already said, it's important to get the fundamentals right. So really important as organization, we establish strong management, governance, infrastructure support. We talked a bit about data maturity. As we say often, we have to put the people first rather than the technology. So I just want to also highlight the renewed digital principles that were actually launched at the conference. So if you hadn't had a look yet, that's a really good resource for you. That is my brief overview.